Before he became a rebel prince, a warrior, and a symbol of Welsh resistance, Owain Glyndwr was simply a boy. Born into a noble but quiet corner of Wales, unaware that he would one day shake the foundations of the English crown. Owain Glyndwr was born around the year 1359 into the powerful gentry of northeast Wales. His family seat was Glyndwr, near Corwin in Merionethshire. Though Wales was under English rule, Glyndwr's bloodline was proudly Welsh, descended from the princes of Powys and the lords of Glyndwr. His father, Gruffydd Fihan II, held lands and titles under English overlordship, but the family never forgot their ancient lineage, a line that stretched back to Llewellyn the Great and even further, into the mists of Cymric legend. By the 1380s, Owain had served as a squire and soldier, possibly even taking part in campaigns in Scotland or France. He married Margaret Hanmer, the daughter of an English judge, a clever alliance that gave him further influence and respect on both sides of the border. By the time he reached his late 30s, Owain Glyndwr was a respected landowner, lawyer, and former soldier. He lived a relatively peaceful life, until one bitter land dispute and a shift in English politics changed everything. By the year 1399, the peace in Glyndwr's life was beginning to crack. It started with a land dispute, seemingly small, but it would light the fire of history. Owain's neighbour, Reginald Grey, Baron of Ruthin, was no friend of the Welsh. An ambitious marcher lord and loyal to the English crown, Grey claimed part of Glyndwr's land, and worse, the English courts refused to hear Owain's case. Why? Because Grey was in favour with the new king, Henry IV, who had seized the throne from Richard II just months earlier. Owain had once served Richard. Now he found himself cut off, insulted, and legally ignored. This wasn't just a quarrel between neighbours. To Owain, it was proof that Wales had no justice under English rule. In September 1400, with Grey's insult still burning in his chest, Owain Glyndwr made a decision that would change Welsh history forever. He declared himself Prince of Wales, the first to do so in over 100 years. It was a bold, defiant act, and people listened. Supporters from across North and Central Wales flocked to his banner. Farmers, poets, warriors, and even disillusioned nobles. The Red Dragon stirred once more. Attacks on English settlements began. Castles were ambushed. English officials were driven out. The Welsh revolt had begun. And Owain Glyndwr was now not just a landowner, but the leader of a nation rising. What began as a personal grievance had become a national uprising. The dragon had risen, and England would never look at Wales the same way again. The year is 1401, and Owain Glyndwr's rebellion is no longer just a flicker, it's a wildfire. From the mountains of Snowdonia to the valleys of South Wales, the call for freedom echoes. Castles are under siege, towns are torched, and the once safe English border is in chaos. Even the sons of powerful Welsh noble families begin to join Glyndwr, including members of the Tudor family of Penmanydd on Anglesey, ancestors of the future King Henry VII. Then, on Good Friday, Welsh rebels pull off a daring assault, the capture of Conwy Castle by only a handful of men. It's a symbolic blow against English power, and proof that the rebellion is spreading fast. Glyndwr isn't just leading an uprising, he's leading a national revolution. By 1404, Glyndwr is at the height of his power. He holds parliaments in Machynlleth, declaring a free and independent Wales. He's no longer just a rebel leader. He is Prince Owain IV of Wales, in name, title, and ambition. He forms alliances with France and Scotland, hoping to crush England with the help of her enemies. In the eyes of many across Europe, Glyndwr isn't a rebel, he's a rightful ruler. He dreams of Welsh universities, a Welsh church, and laws written in Welsh. It's not just about war, it's about building a nation where Cymru rule Cymru once more. But even as Glyndwr's dream grows, dark clouds are gathering. Wales stood tall and united under its own prince, its own flag, and its own hope. But every flame, no matter how bright, casts a shadow, and the English crown was preparing to strike back. By 1405, Glyndwr's Wales had reached its high point. He had crowned himself prince, gained allies in France and Scotland, and controlled large parts of the country. but power is hard to hold, especially when the enemy is relentless. King Henry IV began to regain control. The English crown, once unstable, now turned its full force against Wales. Better supplied, better funded, and ruthless, the English began reclaiming castles, crushing strongholds, and starving out rebel areas. Even Glyndwr's French allies, after a few campaigns, withdrew their support. Without consistent foreign aid, and with English armies regaining ground, the rebellion began to fragment.
The English didn't just fight the rebels, they punished the people. Entire regions were burned, crops destroyed, and families left to starve. Villages that once supported Glyndwr were turned into ash. People began to surrender out of desperation, not loyalty. One by one, his most trusted captains were captured, killed, or pardoned. Even his own sons and close allies were lost to battle or betrayal. By 1409, the war had turned cold. Harlech Castle, once Glyndwr's key stronghold and symbol of resistance, fell to the English after a brutal siege. His wife and daughters were captured, imprisoned in the Tower of London. They never returned. Owain Glyndwr vanished into the shadows. Between 1410 and 1415, Glyndwr disappears from the battlefield, but he's never caught. No surrender, no public death, no grave. Some say he lived out his final years in hiding, protected by loyal followers, possibly at Sycharth or Herefordshire, quietly watching the world move on. In 1415, King Henry V offered Glyndwr a full pardon, lands, wealth and peace. He never responded. It was as if the Prince of Wales had become a ghost. Though the rebellion fell, Owain Glyndwr's legend only grew. He became a symbol of Welsh resistance, of courage in the face of empire, and of a nation that refused to be silenced. To this day, no one knows where he's buried, but wherever Welsh hearts beat with pride, the dragon still remembers.